It is a suicidal society in the language it uses and that uses it. This is what I want to say and I want to have heard. It is not a subject of discussion, it's a communication. The retardation of decay is intimately concerned with systems and their withering away when you have asked them all the questions. The concept of entropy is for me a deliberately constructed measurement concept, and it has not only invented what that it measures, but also what it measures. I happen to be with you of the opinion that's a very important connection there, and I have invented the retardation of decay. Almost everything decays. Sooner or later, euphemisms for the word decay is, for instance, living. Everybody knows we are dying. When I compose a piece of music, I try to catch certain idea I have, or that has me, maybe one of the two, and would pass and disappear in thin air immediately if I would grasp it and put it into some context in which its repeated appearance will not be just redundancy, but would manifest a little more than its mere existence. This is my connection. I want you to not be satisfied with an answer that you think didn't answer your question.
Could I offer agreement as a form of entropy?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Agreement?
Agreement.
What's that?
Entropy.
Agreement is entropy. Yeah, you're right. It accelerates decay. Agreement is a non-violent way of making another person superfluous. Agreement is a non-violent way of making another person superfluous.
Then there is the important question of repetition, and is there any such thing? Is there repetition, or is there insistence? I am inclined to believe, I know, Herbert, believers make liars.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
There is no such thing as repetition. And really, how could there be? When I first really realized the inevitable repetition in human expression that was not repetition, but insistence, when I first began to be really conscious of it was when at about 17 years of age, I left the more or less internal and solitary and concentrated life I had led in California and came to Baltimore and lived with a lot of my relations, and principally with a whole group of very lively little aunts who had to know anything. If they had to know anything, and anybody does, they naturally had to say and hear it often. Anybody does. And as there were 10 and 11 of them, they did have to say and hear said whatever was said, and anyone not hearing what it was they said had to come in to hear what had been said. That inevitably made everything said often. I began then to consciously listen to what anybody was saying and what they did say when they were saying what they were saying. This was not yet the beginning of writing, but it was the beginning of knowing what there was that made there be no repetition. No matter how often what had happened, any time anyone told anything, there was no repetition. This is what William James calls the will to live. If not, nobody would live.
Annette, when are you going to do yours?
It comes in nicely here, actually. I was reading an introduction to a book of Gertrude Stein essays, in which there was a little comment about the work of William James. And there's a quotation about consciousness is continuous. And there was a small paragraph about the turn of the century when everybody was interested in consciousness. And in comes Freud, and everybody suddenly becomes interested in subconsciousness. Why? Because we can translate. We're in a universe in which the subconscious is something that we can discover, interpret, translate. But the continuous, the going on of the conscious, is not translatable. And therefore, all the scientific descriptive mechanism does not work for it.
Scientists play as if they were only scientists when they are not. So my only possibility, using Herbert's expression, is to anti-communicate. Is to use my words in such a way that I force them to mean what I want. And to force them to mean what I want, I have to create a whole condition in which they mean what I want. Curiously enough, I want them to mean what they mean in daily life. And the problem with scientists is that they consider them separated from daily life.
Also, when people say about things, that's not interesting, they should say, I'm not interested. But this is the English language that always gives power to someone else. It's triste.